Hello, everybody. Good morrow. I don't have links for you guys tonight because I'm not going to go through the news. I figure we all kind of need a break from the news. And yeah, so I didn't do my live yesterday because I didn't have it in me. And, you can't pour from an empty cup. Well, yesterday my cup was empty. So I know I let those of you that follow me on Twitter know on Twitter. And, there were some people reaching out to me that were obviously disappointed. And I get it because I was disappointed with myself too. And I know that I have positioned myself in a way that, people do rely on me now. And I understand that because, you get used to, this is what I'm here for, literally. I want to be a calming presence. I want to be somebody that's soothing to you, that you can see on a regular basis and know that everything is okay. And, so I get that because I have my people that are like that too. That, when things are hard, I can look at them and just feel a little bit better about it. I have no idea what's going on with my light right now. I don't usually go live this early, so there's like all kinds of sun and stuff. Let me see. Anywho, here I am, and so I just wanted to talk with you guys, and even more than that, I just wanted to be here for you guys to talk to also, and just read my chat and all of that good stuff. So we're just going to skip to the end portion of what I usually do with my show, which is where we chat. And it's crazy. I've been talking to people, I've been talking to friends. I just got off the phone with somebody and who I respect, and just talking about how traumatic this time is, right? And I think that we're all feeling it. And something that seems to be very common with what's going on with everybody is that it's not just rough out there. It's rough. Everybody's kind of have their own personal stuff is coming up also in life. And so that is, we're not even like, most of us aren't even standing on solid ground as it is, where we can be like, okay, we're gonna be in this battle, we're gonna face this head on. It's like when you're already wounded, and then you have to go into battle. So, but we do it. And another thing, oh, there's a new cue. Thanks. I will check it. So another thing is that I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, like it comes in waves. That's another thing that is kind of a common thread with the people I'm talking to. Is that, a lot of us aren't feeling like ourselves, but then it will, and then one day you are feeling like yourself. And that just seems to come along with the territory. I have no idea. It is a spiritual war that we are fighting. It is the entire earth is changing. These things, I guess, were to be expected in some way. I kind of feel like this is the time that we're being challenged like this in order to force ourselves to fix certain things, so that when we do get to the end, we'll be able to really appreciate it, knowing that we deserve it, I guess. That's the way that I'm looking at it. That's what I'm telling myself. It makes me feel a little bit better. Headaches, ups and downs, sadness, exhaustion, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Yes, exactly. Another reason why I didn't do my show yesterday, my eyes were like two bloodshot little swollen slits on my face. I could barely open my eyes. And I have my friend actually to thank for that, because he sent me a playlist of music, and it was just this like really powerful music. And I was like, I actually went to bed feeling great, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna put this music on, and it destroyed me. And it obviously wasn't the music that destroyed me, but it was just the emotions were coming out. And because of what I do, I try to keep up with what's going on in the news, and I've got these alerts set up for certain news, Twitter and on my news app, so that I get alerted when something newsworthy happens. And my God, I had to shut that off, because I just I couldn't see another thing. I just couldn't. So I know a lot of you are feeling like that as well. And yeah, it's not easy. So we have our good days and we have our bad days, and that's what I'm here for. At least that's what I'm telling myself. That is, I hope that I try to bring humor to things. I try to bring, even if I have to force it, fake it till you make it. I had an MK Ultra glitch. That's embarrassing. Even though, you don't feel it, you got to force it. And a lot of times that really does work when you force yourself to be in a positive mood. That's the kind of thing that if somebody says that to you when you're in a bad mood, you want to punch them in the face. But it really does work. And so there's a reason that they say it. According to the Missouri AG, the local prosecutor is the one who released all the St. Louis rioters and looters. Yep, I see that. Things going well for me. I think I've been positioned like this to Congress, though. Meeting a friend soon seems at the end of her tether. Yeah, that's good. I'm glad. Oh, Beer, hi. Hi, Beer. That's good. It's good that we've got people that are feeling some strength, because I'm not, not for the most part. And I know a lot of us aren't. So, and then when I am, I force myself to be to go out there. Like today I was feeling a little bit better. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to force this and talk to you guys. We've been in the storm for a minute. That's right. I mean, think about a month ago, or was it a month ago? I don't even know. I don't even know what day it is. I don't know what year it is. You have an 8 o'clock curfew here because George Floyd. The curfews are to keep people off the streets, and so I back it. I back it right now because we're seeing the destruction. Even though I'm not, I'm not in one of the epicenters for where the stuff's getting really ugly. We're feeling it, and now we've got these threats that these people are going to be moving into the suburbs and targeting people's homes, etc. And it does take away your sense of peace and your sense of safety. And so yeah, we had it's been a powder keg of things. It's no wonder that things are exploding the way that they are, because everybody's been stuck in their homes, and all of this pent up frustration from that is now flowing into this. Be vulnerable and let your followers rescue today. Thank you, Beer. You always have the best advice. I mean, it's true. There's one thing that I excel at. If there's one thing I have that's my strong suit, it is my weakness. Because I can be weak, and maybe a little too weak. I lean on people. I'm sure that I scare the crap out of friends and family sometimes, because I fall to pieces, and some people have a really hard time leaning on others. But at the same time, I'm also the kind of person that anybody that I care about can lean on me at any moment, and I will drop anything to do that for them. And they can be a mess in my lap, and they can fall to pieces. And so, some people are not super comfortable with that. Some people are don't get it, because some people don't fall to pieces. I don't understand that. I just don't get that. That seems to be superhuman strength. But some people don't. Some people are really good at holding things in and continuing to hold things in, and they're cool. They're strong with that. I don't know how. Strange to see protesters in my little town so far removed from the city. Check out the giant in the video, Trump walking from the White House to the church. That's a fun one. Giant man. Air Force One, even bigger. So I don't know if that's the same guy. I definitely saw that. But if the first clip I saw, the guy looks enormous. But the second clip I saw where you watch to the end, you kind of get more of a perspective. Not only is he up kind of on grass that makes him look a little bit taller, but he's he steps down off of a curb and it kind of puts it more in perspective. Don't get me wrong, he's super tall, but I'm going to say he's more like 7 feet, which is not unheard of. I know people that are 7 feet tall. But then the golf course picture, again, he looks massive, but in comparison to the golf cart, he's about a half a foot taller than the golf cart, and that makes sense. I think golf carts are what, like 6 feet to like 6.5 feet. So, you know, again, like 7 feet would make sense. That Air Force One, it's really hard to tell with the perspective, but of course I like to believe that our president has giants protecting him. I mean, how cool. I saw something up here I want to address. Kate, you have a little one. How are you handling being a mom through this? So I got really lucky in that my son's school opened back up. So, you know, I've been just staring at him these last couple months, just like being a potato in my house, and it has hurt. I mean, not really, because the weather has been mostly beautiful. So getting him outside and stuff like that has been a priority. I haven't told him. I don't tell him. I mean, he just turned 5. He's not. I think, you know, remember when my dog died, and I was like, I don't know whether to tell my kid or not, and some of you were like don't, you know, you have to tell him. I think some of you believe that I'm like Shakyamuni Buddha-ing my son, like keeping him away from all of the darkness in the world, and so he's just gonna get shocked when he goes out there. But he was 4, and not only that, but he has not realized that our dog is gone. So he's mentioned twice, he'd be like, Mom, where is Cricket? Like, and catch me off guard, and I'll be like, oh, she's at a friend's house, and he's like, oh, okay. He seems okay with that. My opinion is, I mean, those formative years, which really around the age of 5 or 6 is really when that the consciousness, that the critical area of mind seals off, and we become less like sponges, and we become less like we take everything at face value before then. We don't question things the way we do once that part of our brain is formed. So traumas and things like that are a lot more. That's why they call them our formative years. You know, they mean more. They pack more of a punch. They change you more. So I kind of think like after 6 is when you kind of have to start like dealing with the real world stuff. Like you flush the fish, I guess, in front of them instead of doing it behind the back. I had a parakeet when I was younger for like, I don't know, 6 years. And I found out when I was like a teenager that it was like 14 different parakeets and it would die. And while I was at school, my parents would go and replace it so that I didn't have to deal with that. So I don't know. That's just my, I guess, my personal take on being a parent. That's just what I choose to do. It doesn't mean it's right, but very frustrated with all the subliminal messages on kids' channels. Turned off the TV for him a month ago. That's another thing too. Like, how do you keep kids away from television and apps and things like that when there's nothing else to do? And I know some people were stuck in like snow and bad weather during the beginning part of this. Now a lot of us are stuck in, you know, 3-digit degree weather, and it's hard to get the kids outside and stuff like that. You know, some people live in apartments and they don't have the option to take the kid to the park right now. That's got to be really, really hard. Around 6 to 7 years old, kids change their brain waves from what is it, delta to alpha, or the other way around. Basically before 6, a kid can't tell fantasy from reality. Exactly. What's your take on Soros? Gee, he's a swell guy, isn't he? 3-digit heat. No, he sucks. My daughter is 17 and I red pilled her so she can grow up with the knowledge. That's awesome. I told my kids we had a solar powered TV which only worked when it was raining. I love that. What are you most looking forward to next? Anything but this, literally. I don't know. Ask me in about a week. I saw were there new Q drops? Sorry, when I went to look, it wasn't on QMap yet. Okay, yep, we got 2 new ones. Safe zones known, coordinated. It is a tweet from Eric Schmidt. Eric Schmidt, I believe, was the AG. Hold on, it's a video. In a stunning development, our office has learned that every single one of the St. Louis looters and rioters, oh, okay, thank you. This is what you guys mentioned. Oh, I'm thinking of a different Eric Schmidt then. Rioters arrested were released back onto the streets by a local prosecutor. That ain't cool. And then the next one is a tweet from Donald Trump from September of 2018. I'm draining the swamp and the swamp is trying to fight back. Don't worry, we will win. And Q says the swamp runs deep. That's true. Nice one, Dawn. Meditating with your kids is a good idea. I haven't thought about that. I don't know if my son would have the patience for that. He likes yoga though, which is super cute. Kate, do you miss the murder hornets? Desperately. What was I seeing the other day about blue bees? Like they were making some big deal out of blue bees, and I've seen blue bees all my life. And I remember actually being at dinner with some friends and family and talking about blue bees, and everyone was like, "You're crazy. There's no such thing as a blue bee." And I was like, "Yeah." And so I looked it up on my phone. I was like, "See," and there are blue bees. And so anyway, the other day I was actually out in the pool and I saw a couple blue bees just kind of swimming around flying around my my lavender out there. And so I took a picture, and then suddenly there was something like, "Oh, miraculous blue bees seen in something," and I was like, "No, you guys are crazy. They've been around forever. Bring back the hornets." I was laughing so hard. I know it's not true. The hippo thing that was going around, I was like, okay, what's next? Like, the news just gets more and more ridiculous. Did anyone see the video of the looters rolling up in a Rolls Royce? Yep, I did. You ain't never seen one? They're really pretty. I like them. Bluebies. That's good. Hi, Metatron. Bovine Joni, my good bud. Bovine Joni is my friend IRL, and she did me a real big solid this week. I can't say what it was, but love that girl with all my might. Kate, do you think this drama between Trump and the deep state will be over in November after the election? God, I hope so. I hope it's over before then. I don't know, there's that speculation that the, 2020, I mean, like the election and after will be his victory lap, because everything's got to get settled before then. And I really want to believe that, but I don't know at this point. What do you think about the pallets of bricks being prepped in the streets of it in Atlanta and places? I mean, it's all over the place, right? It was Kansas City. Where else? Was it Dallas? That's not a coincidence. And so there were some people, some of the pallets of bricks, some people were able to trace back before this started. But I'm kind of like, that still doesn't like settle it for me, because I truly believe that these riots were planned. Whether you want to say that they either used this particular incident to, or they planned this particular incident, or whatever you want to say, they certainly, I think that this was just the next card that they were going to pull. Anyway, so even if those bricks were there like days before this, I have to wonder, are they going to play the alien card next? Pfft. I mean, I've been expecting that for a couple years, but like, I was just talking about this to my friend the other day, like, I almost am welcoming it, even if it's a total psyop, like bull, whatever, that's like freaking people out. That might be the thing that snaps some people into place, because what else? And it can't get much worse. I shouldn't say that, knock on wood. But at this point, like, yeah, that would freak some people out, but I'm getting impatient. I know a lot of us are getting impatient, which is another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, because that was getting to me. Just watching the behavior in the streets and stuff like that, and knowing that we are here because of our own selves. We are in this position, and even, if we're not the ones out there doing that violence, like, we're all a part of this, because we've all played a hand in the consent that has been of all of these terrible things that have been put on us. And so, yeah, like some of us are awake now, like we're asking the right questions. Some people have been awake for years, and those people, God bless them, have been holding the line for us, holding that space for us until, you know, we came along. And so it's our job to hold the space for these next people to come along. But man, when you look at some of these people, it's hard not to think like, what's it going to take? What is it going to take for them to, you know, stop with the hate and the fear? And I really don't know what that is, but if it's going to be aliens, it's got to be aliens. Just saw a clip tonight where the people that removed Floyd's body appeared to be wearing cop uniforms rather than EMT uniforms and did not attempt to resuscitate Floyd. Seemed odd and worrisome. So those uniforms actually were EMT uniforms. I know they were like brown and different and did look like the cop uniforms, but I've since seen that they actually were a certain type of EMT. But you're right, they did not try to resuscitate him. They didn't do CPR. They like literally just came and scooped him up and put him in the ambulance, and I've never seen anything like that. So that was really weird. All right, Alara, we'll see you soon. Alara will be going live in 20 minutes. So I will wrap this up then, and we will all scoot on over there, and we can chat over there. She's got a really awesome guest tonight on Pink Patriot Hour, her and Livin do. So, so yeah, that's why I'm doing this also like an hour earlier than I usually do. Anyone else happen to see NASA state there's a huge asteroid passing Sunday? I feel like there's always an asteroid. There's always an asteroid, and it's always a supermoon. Everyone's like, oh, it's the supermoon. It hasn't been like this for 80,000 years. I'm like, there was one last Tuesday. Like, what are you talking about? There's a supermoon every month, I feel like. Oh yeah, remember plastic straws? It's 5:38 for me. Space Mouse was good. So that was a video, I guess, I was confused on that and I didn't look into it too much, but that video, I believe, was from 2019. So I don't know if they were using stock footage or if that just started circulating, or I don't know, because I watched it live with my kid, but I didn't see Space Mouse. Call in on Pink Patriot Hour. They can take phone calls now. Get Alara back in here. That would be cool. Well, I'll be in there chatting. And hi, Punisher, by the way. I'll be in there chatting, but I'm not going to call in because I don't want to take away from the guest that she has tonight. Hi, Mythical. Cases of CV-19 caused by Floyd protesters equals 0. Exactly. Like, where did that go? Strawberry Moon will be coming in a couple of nights. You know, is it just me that feels like these special moons are happening every month? Hi, Kate. Would the DOG be going after DS Australian operatives? Alexander Downer. I don't exactly know how that works. Oh, did you guys watch Rod Rosenstein's testimony today? That was interesting. I am still of the belief that there's a possibility he might, I don't want to say white hat, but maybe more of a gray hat. He still played an important role in this to a point where the jury's still out for me. Like, I'm not completely settled on him yet. I mean, I was settled in the beginning. I was for sure. I had all the memes. I had all the derogatory memes on the man. And then the more that I saw, I started to re-examine that. And so now I'm not so sure. I definitely wouldn't be surprised either way, I guess is what I'm saying. Cruz was on fire. That's for sure. And what's like Lindsey Graham, same with him. There's so much that he says. I'm like, dude, he's there. He is with us. He's saying all the right things, but then he'll waver on just like some bullshit. And I don't get it. I just can't, I don't get it. I can't put my finger on like exactly where he stands, and that sucks. But man, when he goes off it's exciting too, sometimes. I also like the way he says because. Because. What is that? Is that a Southern thing? He ain't to be trusted. Who is that? Rosenstein or Lindsey Graham? Probably both. I would say both. I wouldn't trust either of them at this point. I mean, there are very few people that that I would say I definitely trust. Like, literally a handful. What happens if Trump loses? I don't know, but he's not going to. And every day we're seeing this unfold. As ugly as this is, and as crazy as this is, I mean, we have to keep reminding ourselves, because a lot of us are like, oh, enjoy the show. I mean, that makes a lot of us think that Q is saying, okay, well, you know, they have said that they were going to keep us safe, etc. But also keep in mind that this is war, and that people have probably been dying in this war behind the scenes this entire time. And so now we're seeing this, and it's very hard to reconcile why we should be, you know, still have faith in the plan or whatever. But Q has said that, you know, you can't tell people sometimes, you have to show them. And so people are seeing, and it is a rude awakening. It is a slap in the face for a lot of people, but I've got a lot of people saying, you know, they have people reaching out to them that they never would have expected, that are like starting to wake up now and starting to ask questions. You know, once you really see that and how we're being played, it really doesn't matter how you arrive there. And remember that, you know, when we're hard on the Black Lives Matter, we'll call it what it is, a PSYOP, we have to keep in mind that a lot of really, I mean, probably the majority of the people that are a part of that movement have the right intentions, and they've got good hearts, and they're there for the, most of the people actually that I know that follow Q and that are now like solid Trump supporters came from that Black Lives Matter, Bernie Sanders supporting world. And, you know, it wasn't until they realized that it was, you know, who was behind it and why. Because one of the things that they do is, I mean, it's like the Me Too movement. It's like, feminism. It's like all of these things. You put this pretty plaque on it, and you title it something that, of course, people have to get behind. Of course, Black Lives Matter. So but you make it in a way that it draws a line in the sand, that it now becomes a way to, instead of uniting people, it becomes a way to pit people against each other. Okay, well, now you won't put this hashtag up because you know that this was an inorganic thing that was created for the wrong reasons, but now that means that you don't support people of color, or, you know, you're against me and I'm in this box and you're in that box, and it was just another way to do that to people. And so that's what they've been, you know, basically genius at, is that they take over benevolent causes, you know, that things that start off, or that their core is good, and they turn them into something awful. It is the theme of everything they do. They take everything good and they make it bad. So it's whack. Ha! As soon as I said whack, I read the word whack. Everything is wackadoodle right now. It's really hard to tell where the PSYOP begins and reality ends. Exactly. That's really hard. How can we be sure that Q Trump isn't a PSYOP? I've been following for a couple years, by the way, and I'm still not sure. I mean, it doesn't make as much sense to me. So I know I've covered this before, but it's important to ask those questions, and to keeps you on your toes. And I guess if you haven't settled into that feeling yet, then go with that and keep questioning and keep paying attention and keep watching, you know, what are the things that he's doing, and, you know, the fruits, I guess, like judge what is going on by the fruits of what is happening. And that's what helps me. But either way, it's waking people up, right? A lot of us are here because of that. What possible reason would the DS even risk waking people up with the Q PSYOP? That's a good point. That's a good question. But also, I think that things like Ancient Aliens, etc., Some of these things that I think were intended to be a limited hangout backfired bigly because they didn't realize, they didn't account for the fact that once people, I think in their arrogance, felt because they've always been able to control things and conceal things, that they would just keep on being able to do that, and that they would give us a little bit and that would appease us. They completely underestimated what the raising of consciousness would do, and that it would take on a life of its own. And that we would break through that barrier just by that, just by like them leaning on that trigger a little bit of us waking up. It's like, okay, you woke me up, but I don't need you anymore. And so they couldn't keep us corralled where they wanted to keep us corralled. Q isn't pushing hate and violence. That is true. Such a hard time in Germany right now. Nobody is awake, only 5%. Hard life for me here. Yeah, I'm really sorry about that, because I know we are lucky here. I mean, even though it's like, I see a couple Q bumper stickers in my, like out when I'm out driving, and I like almost run off the road. I'm like, friend! But I know that doesn't really translate into my life. It's not like I'm exchanging phone numbers with these people. So most of the people that I'm in contact with are still online, whether they're 100 miles away from me or thousands of miles away from me. So, but it'll happen. I mean, it is happening. It's happening more rapidly, I guess, in the United States, just because of the nature of everything. But it's the plan to save the world, not the plan to save America. Hey, Keystone Channel. It's the ultimate string along? Yeah, I guess so. But would you have signed up for any of this if you knew how long it was going to take? Probably not. I wouldn't have. I would have taken the blue pill and gone straight back to bed and straight back to Bravo. I'm very concerned Trump is in fact DS, which puts everything which has transpired in an entirely different context. Everything we've discussed is now happening. We're on the verge of martial law. I would recommend you go back and read I would suggest the first 100 Q drops. And if you don't have time, just start, and wherever you get to. And look at them with the perspective of what's going on right now. But what I'm hearing, which is completely understandable, is fear because of what we're seeing. And even though most of us didn't expect it to get this bad, it also makes sense why this is happening the way that it's happening. And fear is I actually did a thread about this the other day on Twitter, because I believe that, we're here to make a simple choice, and that is either to live with fear or to live with love. And at first, those two things don't really seem like they are the opposite of each other, but they really are. And when it comes down to it, all of like anger and hatred and all of those feelings that we would consider the opposite of love, they all come from fear. And if you're really honest with yourself and you trace back those kinds of feelings in you, you will see that they stem from fear. And it's human nature, obviously, to feel afraid. It's part of our self-preservation in order that we feel fear. It's there for a reason, and it does serve its purpose. But we also we can't see things clearly through fear. We can't see things as clearly we can't see things clearly at all through fear. So as much as you can, try to put that fear aside when you are looking at the situation and trying to gauge what's going on. I know it's not easy. Okay, what is going on with Trump going to the church, tear gassing a crowd for a photo op? That is concerning. They were not tear gassed. There were no rubber bullets. This was addressed in the thing, the thing. And what am I, Joe Biden? It was in the press conference today. So those were, it was, what was it, like liquid smoke or whatever? Remember what they used at the border, and people were saying like, oh, they were tear gassing children, and then the canisters were actually like liquid smoke. So that, what they were saying was that perimeter was supposed to be pushed back. They got those orders in the morning that the perimeter was supposed to be pushed back because of the church fire. They were supposed to keep them like a couple blocks further, and they didn't. And then they ended up finding weapons stashed, sticks and bottles and things like that around. And so they were pushing the crowd back like they were supposed to do, I guess, in the morning. So they didn't tear gas people so that he could have a photo op. But I know that a lot of people are saying that. Very important to correct that. That's not what happened. Yeah, smoke bombs. So it was really interesting when he was leaving. He was like, he gave his press conference, and then he was like, I'm gonna go right now and pay respects to a really, really special place. And the first thing that popped into my mind were the drops about there being a very special place for GS. And it was interesting because in the talk that he gave, he literally said, he was literally addressing Antifa and the leaders and the coordinators of Antifa and how they were going to get arrested, and the justice would be served. So that entire thing was about that. And then at the end, he leaves off talking about a very special place. So I thought that was noteworthy. And of course, there are always double, triple, whatever meanings. So he was going to a special place, but understand that he chooses his words very carefully, and he knows as well as we do the lingo and the certain terminology that Q has used. And so when they use it, or when he uses it, I believe it's touch. Oh. Oh yeah, we went over the tall guy. Choking. So what's next? Second wave of corona in October to force mail-in voting. Officers get found not guilty in court, which will lead to a repeat of riots. I don't know. All I can say is, actually, he's not leading left. I saw your comment about Tesla. He's not leading left. It's my camera that's leaning. It's my life that's crooked, okay? Tesla's fine. It's me. So, I need the Heimlich. So, where were we? Something about, where were we? I don't remember what I was saying now. Oh, second wave. All I can say is that just, we don't know what is to come next, and we don't know if it's going to get worse or rapidly better or stay the same, which actually things staying the same would be terrible because they are in an awful state right now. So it's really important that we focus on ourselves and like tuning out. As hard as it is, we want to be paying attention to what's going on, but you got to save yourself too. And when you get sucked into that, when like they're literally part of what the intention of this is to traumatize us, to bring our vibrations down, and to, our minds collectively have a lot of power. And so when they put this fear in us and they show us these terrible things, it's what they've been doing to us all along. But obviously, things like this really intensify it. It is important that we keep that perspective, and you can both have compassion and distance yourself. And that is a very hard thing to do. That is what I have been struggling with this week. That is why I did not go live yesterday, because I was like distancing. I was like, trying to pay attention to everything and being like, okay, you know, just stay focused and just, you know, like, yeah, keep yourself healthy or whatever. And it got to me. It got to me. It was just completely overwhelming. There were a couple things that I was avoiding on purpose that everyone was sending to me. And I was like, I couldn't get away from them. There were certain videos and things like that, that I knew what they were of before I watched them. And I couldn't watch them on purpose, but they were everywhere. And on one hand, it's like, we want to share those things. It's important, I guess, that people understand the intensity of what's happening, but at some point you got to say uncle, and like, I get it. I get what's going on right now. I don't need to watch those terrible things, and I can't do anything with this compassion. I can't do anything with this drive to help people if I am broken myself. Yeah, so whatever that looks like to you, as far as fearing no evil, and whatever strength looks like to you, I have no idea. It changes for me day to day. And I'm like, it's like right now I'm on like a spirituality buffet, and I'm taking little pieces of everything, and I don't know, I haven't like settled on one yet. And maybe that's because like I'm finding truth in everything, and I'm also finding like certain areas that don't jive with me on all of them. So I'm still figuring it out, and that makes it really hard, because I'm watching some of my friends who are super religious, and they're cool as a cucumber right now. And I'm like, I want that. Like, I'll have what she's having, but it's not coming. It's not coming to me for some reason. I didn't talk about the new King of England. I know that stuff is everywhere. Believe me, I know. I made a post the other day about the gates at Windsor or whatever, and it's been nonstop. I've been getting nonstop notifications on that post. I've been getting nonstop direct messages because of it, and it's interesting to me. I want to know and I want to look into it, but it's like triage right now. There's like so many other things that I need to look at before that. Yeah, so in just a couple minutes, I'm going to go over to Pink Patriot Hour if you guys want to join me. Let me drop the link really fast. And, but I'll take a couple more questions before we do that. Here we go. Oh, that's a cute graphic. Kate, I can help with the having faith. Thank you. I mean, yeah, like I get a lot of messages from people that have, you know, those little nuggets of help for me and guidance and things like that. And I appreciate them every time. Yeah, I don't know why I'm just not like connecting with everything. Like at some point, at some point it's gonna click in me. I know it is. And then I'm gonna be like, oh, okay. But right now I just have so many different angles that I'm looking at everything, and I'm kind of finding pieces of stuff that I like all over the place. And at the same time, I'm having a really hard time finding that like faith, because I don't understand, I guess, not to get into like something totally deep right now when we're just about to end this, but like, I guess I don't understand, whatever, we'll get into that another time. But Kate, you need to meditate. I know, I'm doing that too. I'm trying. Usually I just end up sobbing, so I don't know what that's about, but I'm trying. Praying, yep, yoga, trying that. Basically, you can't throw something at me that I haven't already tried, as far as I know. Maybe you have some like magic root that I need to be trying. I don't know. I will take all of the suggestions, but as it is right now, I am not there yet. But if I find something that works for me, I'll be sure to share it with you guys. Oh yeah, I was gonna give you guys the link. Give it to you a couple times. So we'll hop over there. You will DM me meditations. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I've been looking for 65 years. We keep learning. That's a really great point, you know? Maybe it is something that is meant to keep evolving inside of you. And maybe if you get too comfortable in one thing, I don't know, what am I saying? What do I know? Because like I said, I look at some of these people that are very firm in their beliefs and they seem to be doing great through this. So maybe they have the recipe and I don't. Can anyone give me 2 things that Q has accomplished that helps the citizens? They've woken people up and they've brought us together. Ba-bam. Okay. All right, well, let me drop this link again. Everybody go over there and say hi to Alara and Livin, and I will meet you over there in a second. And I love you guys very much. Take care of yourselves. I will see you next Tuesday at 6 o'clock Pacific. Yeah. Love you guys. Talk to you later. See you soon. Goodbye.